to score the Oilers in $75,000 bonus prize. Lower bowl Oilers season seats plus $75,000 cash. You're also in to win the Porsche Paris early bird and the $2.5 million grand prize. A luxury show home in Cameron Heights. Hurry, bonus prize deadline is midnight Friday. Be mighty. Buy your tickets now at MikeDMillionsLottery.com.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Today's show, Elks win a massive game. Bills, Ravens, instant classic. Oilers without Hyman to start the year. And oh no, Blue Jays. Wow. Lowdown brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues on the entire lineup of 2025 Sierra trucks. Details at wolfgmcbuick.com. Of course, we're at Sports 1440 AM radio. We're also on YouTube live at sports1440.ca as well. iHeartRadio, Radio Player Canada. After the show, we're on Apple and Spotify podcasts, and we tweeted out as well on X. We apparently ignore Blue Sky, but only for a while. We'll get there, I promise. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, at jfenwick04. You can text or call us anytime at 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. It's going to be a sprint to get through all of the things to talk about today. We will have Jason Krueger coming up at 1:20 today. Declinations. We'll have an entire feature or segment on the National Football League at 12:40 today. Next Monday at 12:40, Rachel's back. That's right. With lots of news. We're going to let her share it when she comes here next Monday at 12:40. But Rachel will be back 1 week from today, and we're delighted to have her back on the radio. Okay. All that is left now is the introductions. So let's start here. I saw him destroy 2 plates of food at the Elks breakfast on Saturday, and he got skinnier doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it works. I don't like the fact that I can hear myself. It's just the way the headphones work.
What did you have on Saturday for food?
So much. They had flank steak with chimichurri.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. Crushed some pancakes, a couple of Clairs, a smoothie, 2 smoothies actually, a scone, Danish. I don't even know how much more, but a lot.
Did you have bacon and sausages?
I did have bacon and sausages and the potatoes that were there.
Yeah, those were all good.
It was a good time.
Yeah, I carved up only on the potatoes, though. I stayed away from everything else.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I carved up on a lot.
You had pancakes.
Yeah.
Everything you said there was carbo, but you're young and you can do that, man.
I could.
All right.
I do. I will.
His tweet storm during the epic Bills win last night should be made into a picture book. Call it All Hope is Lost. My life is ruined. Oh, wait a minute. It's Declan Krueger, everybody. Declan Krueger. That was hilarious. Your first and last tweets about the game were, I think, reflective of Bills fans.
That is what that is what you go through. That not just as a Bills fan. That is what any NFL fan goes through when their team is in a game like that. And here's the other thing. When you are supposedly in a Super Bowl window, which the Bills very much are, and you're getting hung for 33 points before the end of the third quarter via a one-handed catch from great grandpa DeAndre Hopkins, you get a little upset about things. Now, obviously, they rallied. They got the win. Credit to Declan. Bet the Bills money line when they were down 17-7. That was a nice little catch.
How
for
did
the
you
kid.
turn this into you?
Sorry.
I guess you turn this story into being
He's
about
allowed
you.
to turn it into him.
Because I always view myself as a extension of whatever team I cheer for. I don't talk about we's when, we talk about the teams we cover, most notably the Oilers and the Elks, but the Riders, the Heat, the Bills, Oregon football, that's me and the team. That's me and the guys is really what that is.
All right. Well, that's cool. And that's all fair. Now, are you heartened because I gotta say, I had to nurse you through the entire summer and fall. You were a little down on Josh, a little down on the Bills. You like, that's over, the window's done. Are you feeling a little better about their future and maybe a Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, he played incredible, right? Like, it goes without saying, this guy played incredibly. He's the MVP of the league for a reason. It was reflected in his stat line last night.
How about your 100-year-old kicker?
Yeah, how about he catches the red eye from Arizona, had players thinking he was a coach. They didn't really, want to have to use him, but he comes in there, hits 3, and obviously the game winner as well. What I did hate about the game was the 2 failed 2-point conversions.
Yeah, I get
because
that.
If they had just kicked in both of those situations, the game would have been tied 40-40 instead of being 40-38, where they were going to have to burn all their timeouts. Now, they got unbelievable help by the defense from getting that fumble on Derrick Henry, but it still could have been 40-40 instead of 40-38.
Yeah, and I've always felt like I don't mind the going for 2 points, but only use it when you have to. Like, don't do it in the first quarter or anything like that. They didn't have to do that. They could have kicked the extra, and then if they were running out of time, they could try for the 2 the next time, right? Like,
yes.
They didn't have to do that, and I think it is something you should just keep everything aligned so it's a 1-score game.
The first one, I get the analytics, I get the math behind it, because the analytics say if you miss the first one, you'll get the second one. It's a 50-50 play. And on that first 2-point convert where they failed, they were then down 8. But then it came to a situation where they were down 9 and they went for 2. And they obviously didn't get it. And guess what? It's a 2-possession game. If you had just kicked the extra point, yes, you have to get a touchdown and then a 2-point conversion again. But guess what? It's a 1-possession game. That is infinitely easier, especially with that time on the clock, than 2. And like I said, they got bailed out by Derrick Henry's fumble, then phenomenal play by the offense the rest of the way, namely Josh Allen and James Cook as well, because that HB screen was cold. But I'm saying, it's keep the nerds out of sports, keep your spreadsheets out of my game.
So bad.
Sit up there in the press box and keep your head down.
Is our children learning? No. All right, Jays. Look, they're in a slump. Their pitching is kind of off. They're tipping pitches. It's bad news, Bears. It happens. They'll come out of it. They'll turn it around. We just don't know if it's going to be this season. If you're a little bit worried, all of the time watching baseball that I've had in my life tells me you should be. The 2 games is jack doodly this time of year. Now they could win it, but they need 3 really good starts in a row. And they need to win 2 of those 3. They need to win 2 of 3 the next 2 series, and then they'll be fine. But right now, if you're worried about the Yankees, you have a right to be if you're a Jays fan. Oilers, I wrote about Zach Hyman and possible replacements for him, as Jason Gregor and Mark Spector reported last week. Looks like he's going to be out for a time, maybe even till November. So that gives opportunity. Matt Savoy would be an example. Trent Frederick, we still don't know about the high ankle sprain, and sometimes that injury, as Rachel actually reported last spring and summer, that can be an injury that lingers a little bit. But it does give an opportunity to Savoy. I think Frederick is there. And also, as Gregor mentioned last week, the European ad, the Swedish Elite League scorer has a chance to slide in there. So we'll talk about that as the day goes by. Also want to just briefly mention, because it is becoming a story, online, there's a lot of Oilers fans who are starting to rip Connor McDavid. And look, you do whatever you want, but understand that you'll own that. The idea that Connor McDavid owes you something is really contrary to what I've been watching the last decade. He's been brilliant for 10 years in a row. Notice I haven't won the Stanley Cup. You can blame him all you want. I get it. I understand. But if you're going to go online and you're going to rip him and you're going to be the big noise, then you have to own that. And that's part of being, that's a reputation that Edmonton will own too. If you want to rip the best player in the game for taking his time, as he has a right to do, to think about his contract, fill your hat. But understand there will be repercussions, because this is on a big stage and people are waiting for you. They're delighted that you're angry. They're delighted with your misery. And so when you show that, you're just going to get more and more, and it's going to become a big issue. And it really doesn't need to be. I think it will be if we get to training camp and then into the season, if Connor McDavid doesn't sign. But right now we're just in the early days and people are kind of losing their religion, as it were, a little early, I think. Connor McDavid's done a lot for the Edmonton Oilers and a lot for this city, and certainly a lot for ownership. He's been earning them money for a decade now.
Lowetide, may I retort?
Sure.
Because I agree with everything you say. I think ripping, pretty much the best hockey player we've ever seen, who, has shown a willingness to be here over the past 10 years is probably not the direction I would go. The one thing I would say in the fans' defense is that when he does a media avail and talks about possible term of contract and he throws the phrase no term in there, I think there is, legitimate reason for the fan base to be a touch upset about that. Now, he doesn't owe them anything, but I get where their anger and their frustration may come from. And then the other side of the coin is, I think some fans are kind of starting to come around to the reality that, to a degree, he's no-showed it in 2 Stanley Cup finals in pretty big moments. And like I said, I just think I understand the frustration that comes with that.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen this before. When Oilers leave, they get just torn apart when they're gone, and that happens. I don't agree with it. I think Connor McDavid has given everybody wonderful, wonderful, wonderful decade of hockey, but you fill your hat and do what you want. But I also think that he has a right to decide what he wants to do, and he's been clear about it. And he may be leaving. And if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at the organization if they're caught flat-footed. I don't think they will be, but they have to decide: do they want to make a trade or do they want to get Marnered? And by Marnered, I mean you're going to get a fourth-line center. And I welcome your texts. Send them our way. 833-401-1440. I'm one voice, not the voice. No real fan would be ripping him. There's lots of fake fans or pretend fans, fair weather fans. A real fan would not be ripping him. That comes in from Chad. Anyone who thinks 97 no-showed in the finals is an idiot. Good afternoon, Lowetide. A couple of weeks ago, you stated that nobody catching the Blue Jays. What happened to that statement of conviction from Bobby? Well, it's baseball, Bobby. That's what happens. Now, the Jays are 2 up. That's nothing. I honestly don't remember saying that, but let's say I did. The Jays are up by 2. Even when they were up by 6, I don't think you could say something along those lines. But the Jays have not played well, and the Yankees and Boston haven't played well until recently either. It happens. The Los Angeles Dodgers had a no-hitter, and Yamamoto grooved one to Jackson Holiday. I thought the outfielder, I think it was Pages, could have made a better effort to catch that ball. It would have been a no-hitter if he had. But that only ties the game. The reliever comes in and absolute dogs it, and the Dodgers lose. Dodgers are a better team than the Blue Jays. It can happen. They're up by 2. You have a right to be worried. I mean, watch the games, but there's a worry here. There's no doubt about it. I heard an interesting point. He will sign in Edmonton, but might not this year, as to get the max cap is going up. A timing thing from Rusty. Sure. And that may happen as well. This is obviously either there's a threading of the needle or he plans to leave, and we'll see how it goes. But if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you have to be ready for everything. You do. No answer is an answer, boys. There you go. Don't see what the issue is. He hasn't signed more now when there's really nothing to hold him back. Good chance he is gone soon. Even signing an extension, he seems to be as good as gone. Says he wants no distraction going into the year. Will not be signing, but the biggest one until he does is a terrible captain and leader. He did not show up and did nothing in the finals to help the team win the cup from Florida. No show McFlop. That comes from Cam. There's no excuse for that kind of behavior. He's done nothing wrong. If he leaves, then talk bleep, but he's an Oiler. Shake your heads, people. Ridiculous from Unholy Goalie. The people who are upset, I find, are not real fans. They're bandwagon jumpers that are looking for attention. Steve from Drumheller. McDavid's not leaving. He's going to give it one last try. He'll sign for 4 years. Don't you think? Draisaitl and McDavid talked before Draisaitl signed. Here's the thing. Nobody actually knows. I kind of got an idea about how little was known when the insiders, the guys who actually talk to people in the industry, were saying it's probably 2, could be 4, maybe 8. Right away, with respect to all those guys, they make a living with specific information, and they didn't have it. They did not have it. Something was up. They didn't know what. They were sure he was going to sign. All arrows led that direction. But until McDavid talked in Calgary at the Olympic get together, they didn't really know. And now they still don't know. We don't know what we don't know. But I do find it's interesting that people are already turning on Connor McDavid. And I think it's unwise, just my opinion. Because unlike the day Gretzky got sold, quotes last forever on the internet. Goals in the Stanley Cup Finals, Vasily Podkolzin 2, Connor McDavid 1. Boys, regarding the Connor McDavid contract, the absolute worst is he doesn't sign, but we still have Leon for another 8 years. People need to get perspective and enjoy the ride this season. Well, I understand that, and I'll make this point and then we'll take a break because I'm damned going to stay on clock today. I didn't do it at all last week, and I want to prove that I'm a professional. If you have Leon Draisaitl, that's great. But if you lose Connor McDavid, you'd like to find a way to get something to add to Leon Draisaitl when you lose McDavid. And maybe something more than a fourth line center when Toronto got when they got Marnard. That's my point. And I think we can discuss it. But the bottom line here is if you're outraged and you're online and you're angry, remember that you as an Edmontonian and as an Oiler fan, when you lash out and say things, you are reflecting Edmonton as a fan base and the Oilers as a fan base. And I've seen some things that are definitely a bridge too far. And I don't think all of your Oiler fans' friends agree with you when you say it. All right, it's 12:17. On the way, Jason Gregor in 1 hour. We'll have declinations at 1:40 today, straight ahead rumors, and we'll do an NFL review of most of the first week in the league coming up on the way at 12:40. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440, the Monday edition. We're off to a rocking start at 12:21. Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continuing at wolfgmcbuick.com. Lovely day, beautiful. You get the feeling September is going to give us the August weather we were bitching about. It sure does feel that way. And then sometimes when we get a late summer burst like this, it's nice right until like mid-October, and then, we get thunderstruck. We have had brown Christmases, though. There's something you can dream on. It is time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com. All right. A few things to get to. Lots of people were upset about that McDavid comment that I made. Chris and Victoria, why would he leave? Best hockey city in the world, near fans, best owner, it spares no expense, best arena, best dressing room, training facilities, best friend, their wives, best friends. Wife has businesses in Edmonton. They have a beautiful home. More importantly, best team in the entire NHL the past 5 years, best core in the league, best chance of winning for the foreseeable future. He has it all in Edmonton. It's going nowhere. Reminds me of the Vladdy contract in Toronto. We all knew it was getting done eventually. Chris and Victoria. Well, Chris, what I've said is, and I continue to say it, is that Connor McDavid has the right to make any decision that he feels is correct. And this, because of the nature of the player, he can't make the decision next year on July 1 because the Oilers need to know. The two things that I will say are that I think Elliot Friedman had a point when he said that David is very upset losing the 2 Stanley Cup finals in a row. And the other side of it is that this is a big contract for him in terms of years, in terms of like AAV, and he's a year away from going anywhere he wants. Connor McDavid, if he really wants to win a Stanley Cup, he could sign in Florida for $2 million or something like that. I'm not saying that'll happen, but if that's the priority, that would be a way to get it done. I don't believe that's going to happen. I still think he's going to sign a contract with the Edmonton Oilers, but we'll see how it goes. I'm most interested today about people's reaction because I think that, it's a tell. If you're a fan and the idea that McDavid might leave, it angers you to that extent that you're going to go public with some pretty drastic and negative comments. That's kind of a tell. And I think the Edmonton Oilers fan base is far better than that, but there are elements of the fan base that clearly have decided that this is a breaking point. I have to wonder if it's all about the team signing a goalie from Jordy. You're not alone. A lot of people feel that way. What do you think the internal deadline for the team is before they deal him out of here? Well, I don't know that they can deal him, and that's a fact. But I think that the Edmonton Oilers should be aware of what options they might have if this is his final season with the team. By that, I mean there are, going to be millions and millions of dollars that they'll have available that they didn't think they would have this time next year or July 1st next year. What do they want to do about that? Possibly they want to make a trade for a contract, at some point in time before July 1. They have to start pre-planning that. The problem with making a trade, Connor McDavid has a no movement clause, and, he would be able to dictate where he's going to go. And the team that he's being traded to is unlikely to give up any piece that's going to help them or be central to them winning the Stanley Cup. It's like the Gretzky trade. It was wildly unfair as an assets in, assets out, as it had to be, because Carson wasn't Gretzky, but nobody else was either. Oilers fans living up to the worst stereotypes of themselves today. from Will. I'm going to hold back from saying that because I think it is not very many. But I am saying as well that the idea of texting out what's happening online right now is to create, upset and anger in the fan base, to increase the size of the unrest. And Connor McDavid may not sign another contract with the Edmonton Oilers. And he is, from what we know, he's in the assessment portion of it. So this would be, I think, a reasonable time for Edmonton Oilers fans to not explode in the negative online. Elvis says, you have no idea who these people are that are making these statements about McDavid. They're probably not even Oilers fans. They could be trolls. Whatever, people have a right to say what they want. That's exactly what I've said. Even if it's terribly wrong. He gets paid really good money to be in Edmonton. If he leaves, that's totally up to McDavid. But where is he going to go that he stands a better chance of winning a cup that would cost a team to get him? We'll find out. I think he'll be an Oiler for another 4 years. Well, I mentioned earlier, he could sign for $2 million with the Florida Panthers a year from now or next July. I would give him a hell of a chance. Although I don't know, Florida is aging. It might be another.
But he's not doing that though.
No,
he's not doing the Kevin Durant.
If we're taking it to the ridiculous ends, from what Elliot Friedman said, the big problem for him was not winning the Stanley Cup. Easiest way to win the Stanley Cup is to sign a contract like that.
This is what I would say. This would kind of be my thoughts in regard to, where does he sign that gives him a better chance to win? And I think the reality right now is outside of Edmonton, there isn't one. But if you sign let's say you sign a 2-year extension that keeps you here for 3 years, we don't know what the landscape of the NHL is going to look like in 3 years. And maybe, I'm not saying there is, but there could potentially be some foresight to how different does the landscape look 3 years from now versus today.
Yeah, and I do think that may well be part of why he is being hesitant to sign a contract because, a year from now, he'll have a better idea. 2 years from now, everybody will, and on and on. But, I mean, there's nothing stopping him from signing next year with the Colorado Avalanche or the Carolina Hurricanes or the Florida Panthers, if you want to expand the group of people that we're talking about.
I could never see him signing with Florida in a trillion years.
I can't either. But if he wants to win a Stanley Cup, that would be an easy way to do it.
But it would be. But don't you think it would be a tainted Stanley Cup?
Why?
You went to a finished product that beat you twice.
I think that you could frame it that way, but I think that Connor McDavid would frame it like Miro Shatan signed with Pittsburgh after being Detroit or vice versa, right? I don't recall people saying that. It was tainted.
Connor McDavid is in a different, not even stratosphere. He's in.
So you think that if Connor McDavid signed with the Florida Panthers, people would asterisk that Stanley Cup if they were to win it?
Yes.
Okay. Not sure if he signs or not, but I can't lose him for nothing, or they can't lose him for nothing. Don't blame the best player in hockey for exercising his options. He's given us untold moments of entertainment, basically turned the team around, always spoken well of Edmonton, and has earned the right to make any choice he wants for Marty. I agree totally. That's exactly how I feel about it. No matter how upset you are, he's a free person. This is still free enterprise. Alberta loves the fact that it's entrepreneurial. Let Connor McDavid make his decision. Connor is a very smart man. He's making sure all his I's are dotted and his T's will be crossed. The greats win the cup where they were drafted. Well, I mean, that's Bobby Orr didn't win the cup where he was drafted because he wasn't drafted. Wayne Gretzky didn't win the Stanley Cup where he was drafted because he wasn't drafted. Oilers need a goalie. Connor wants a goalie. So I would trade Bouchard, Skinner, first-round pick to the Rangers for their goalie. Do that, and the Oilers need to do is find a power play defenseman. Sign Bouch. Since Bouch can't play defense, Oilers play the Panthers in the final. We have a goalie. No goalie. Connor leaves. He's gone, guys. It's obvious from Jason. McDavid mentioned the other day that this is a loud market, but that shouldn't be taken as a compliment of Oiler fans' signing abilities. He's referring to the loud trolls that are on full display today. We want to keep him forever, but we could get the moon in return. I wrote an article on this in the summertime. What could you get for McDavid? And people were very they pushed back hard. It was a popular article in reads, but not in reaction. And what I basically said was that you are going to get way less than you think, just like happened with Wayne Gretzky, because he has a no movement clause. He can basically say, I'm going to go here or here or here. And the team that's trading for Connor McDavid could just wait a few months, and then they wouldn't even have to worry about paying anything to the Edmonton Oilers. Now, there is something in them securing McDavid for this year if they were going to trade for him, but that only has a certain amount of value. And there's rumors today that McDavid's signing for $14 million. So what are you going to do? The fact is we don't know. So we're chasing our tails here, and that's fine because it's still summertime and this is radio, and what else are we going to do? But I think for me, I still think he's going to sign, but if he doesn't sign, then the Edmonton Oilers ownership and management group have to have a plan B, whatever it may be. It might be signing somebody on July 1st. It might be going, and signing somebody to an offer sheet. We don't know. It's exactly what these trolls want from Camrose Chris. I couldn't agree with you more from Hot Salsa, and that is for you, Declan. Another question is, Howard in town yet? I'm not sure if we've seen him skating or not. Have you seen him skating? No. Do you think Connor would be happy if the Oilers signed Carter Hart? Absolutely no idea. I do know the NHL hasn't made that possible at this time. Give Dry the C. He's a better leader and is committed to the team. JP on the island. I'll just push back on that. Connor McDavid has been very loyal to this team for 10 years, and he will be for this year as well. This is that line from The Godfather. It's not business, it's personal. I know fans will take it personally. I get that. I understand it. But he has a right to do this. He spent 10, going to be 11 years here playing with the Edmonton Oilers. If his dream is to play elsewhere, then, you can hope that he doesn't have a photograph of himself in Toronto Maple Leafs pajamas. And I know that market is absolutely on fire with all kinds of hope and dreams that happens. And the longer this goes on, that will become more and more prevalent. And the one thing I do disagree about with regard to Mr. McDavid, he has said 2 or 3 times that this shouldn't be a distraction. It's a distraction. I mean, he's not going to be able to go anywhere without getting asked that question. Percentage-wise, what is the percentage Sidney Crosby is an Edmonton Oiler the day after trade deadline next year? I'm going to say none, although I'd love to see it. David is turning into a big baby. I'm starting to dislike him. I'm not sure I can like him again. He is the issue. He didn't show up, from Claude. Hypothetically, if McDavid does go and he's traded, what would the Oilers get back that would help Dry win the Cup in Edmonton next year? Well, if he's traded during the year, I think you can get draft picks. You're going to get draft picks. In the article I wrote, I said Brant Clark from the Kings and draft picks. Because they're not, LA or whomever, this was before Holland spent all the money, they're not going to give up something that can help them win. So Byfield, I don't think, is part of it. You may disagree, but the deal is going to be highly unsatisfactory. Now, if you play Connor McDavid through the year, and maybe you win the Stanley Cup, and maybe you don't, but let's say they don't win the Stanley Cup, then you have that money that you would have spent. You could spend that, I think, wisely on offer sheets. And you could poison pill a couple of players probably, and kind of resurge that way in 26-27. But that's a long way off. I just think the Edmonton Oilers have to at least contemplate the idea of having a different plan aside from what we've heard publicly, which is we're going to be patient because Connor's earned that right, which he has. But you still can, you can still plan for an eventuality you don't want to see. Companies do that all the time. All right, it's 12:34 on the way. Because it was such a spectacular weekend, and because it was the first weekend of the NFL season, we're going to spend an entire segment talking about what happened. That's on the way. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Wing Wednesday at First Round. Whether you're coming for the first round, the last round, or a few rounds in between, they've got you covered with half-price wings every Wednesday night. Half-price wings. Over 35 delicious flavors like Cajun salt and pepper, maple bacon, and Inferno wings. Now half price every Wednesday night. Wash them down with a cold pint of Canadian or Coors Light for only $5.75. Half price Wing Wednesdays at First Round in West End and now downtown. First Round, burgers, beer, sports.
September, back to class and back to carting the kids around. Good news. Until the end of the month at Wolf GMC Buick, get GMC employee pricing on all remaining 2025 GMC Sierras, so you'll have loads of room. Plus, get 0% financing on Sierra light-duty crew cabs. If you're eyeing up an SUV, we have the completely redesigned GMC Terrain and our entire Buick family with incredible prices. And Costco members up to $1,200 additional off the price. Come see us, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe that life shouldn't hurt. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't know that sometimes it really hurts. I mean, we've seen people at their worst moments in life, when they feel they have nowhere to turn, or at a time when they felt like their problem just wouldn't ever go away. We've also seen people who thought to themselves, it'll just go away on its own, or this is no big deal. I don't want to bother anyone about this. Don't know where to turn to, or think it's no big deal? Either way, we have the technology, techniques, and skills to help you get back to it, whatever your it may be. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20 or upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar. Presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic.
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
Get this, Metal Supermarkets now offers welding services for their customers. Simple welds, steel, stainless, and aluminum welding. TIG, MIG, and stick are all available. And I tell you, these welding helmets are really something. Like the jousters wore in the days of yore. Quick, fetch my lance.
Lance is on lunch break.
That's not what... Never mind. Metal Supermarkets, your local convenience stores for... and welding. Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Buick.com. Decided to spend an entire segment today. Should we do this every Monday? Probably, right? It's such a big sport. NFL. We want to get in on the ground floor and help this league become something great. So maybe we'll do it. Is there any particular game? We've talked about the Eagles, Cowboys, and the Bills, Ravens enough, right? We can talk about somebody else, or do you want to talk about that game?
Well, listen, obviously it's your show. Goes without saying. We do the segments how you want. I don't know if you wanted to go. Do we want to go through every game and just talk about them like 10 seconds at a time kind of thing? Like, how do we want to?
Well, why don't I do this? Why don't I pick the ones I want to talk about and then you can chime in afterwards. Cool. All right. The Friday game was interesting. Chargers over Chiefs, only because, as is the case in the CFL with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, you can kind of see cracks forming a little bit, right? And Kansas City lost to the Chargers 27-21. Chargers played well. But do you think this is more eroding of the Kansas City Chiefs or just a one-off?
I think, well, listen, I want to give credit to the Chargers for sure because they played great. And Justin Herbert got the Madison beer bump and he played insane. So I give him a lot of credit. But I did have this take, coming into the season. I think this is going to be the year the Chiefs take a bit of a legitimate backstep. Like you look at their Xavier Worthy, obviously now hurt, but they were already without Rashee Rice. And quite frankly, it's not a great wide receiver room to begin with. Travis Kelce, the last 2 years, has dipped in production, and he's 35 years old with a lifetime of miles on him. I don't love their run game. And quite frankly, Pat Mahomes, who is, a winner through and through, he's got his 3 Super Bowls, but the past 2 years, we haven't seen Patrick Mahomes be the Patrick Mahomes we were accustomed to from like 2018 to 2022. So I do think it's a little bit more about the Chiefs. I give the Chargers credit. And I don't think it's a one-off. Like, do I think the Chiefs are still going to be fine? Yes. Do I still think they're a playoff team? Yes. Are they going to have a winning record? Yes. Are they always going to be dangerous? Probably. But I do think there is something to be said for there may be a little erosion at the foundation. And listen, Mahomes could right the ship and go on to have like a 4,040 touchdown season, but I just think it's more erosion than it is a one-off.
I want to give full credit to the Colts. They played well, but the Dolphins have a kind of Las Vegas posse vibe to them. They look terrible.
The who, sorry?
Dolphins.
The yeah, my goodness, did they ever. Tua Tagovailoa has lost any ability he may have had to read a defense. Like both interceptions were terrible. He did not look competent. Listen, the Colts are again, credit to how Daniel Jones played. The Colts are not a team that should be beating anyone 33-8. And that was the reality the Dolphins found themselves in. They're in a really tough spot. I said I thought they were going to be a little bit better than most people did. It took one game for me to get off that take because Tua he looked bad.
So I feel the same way about Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers beating any team 34-32. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I do love the Steelers. I actually hate them, but I respect the Steelers. But Rodgers had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 22 of 30. Was this a case of Rodgers playing in a great system with the Steelers, or is this just the Jets being the Jets?
Well, the Jets played really well. Like, Justin Fields played great. I thought that, Aaron Glenn had some rookie coaching mistakes along the way. Listen, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be a playoff team. I thought the Jets played well. They were feisty. It was just a good game. One team had to come out on top, and the Steelers ended up being a little bit better throughout the course of the game, and they got it. I was happy with both teams, though. Especially, I think the Jets had relatively low expectations. You could maybe make the same argument for the Steelers, but I think the Jets were probably lower. So to see them have a real good competitive performance in this one, it was nice to see.
I was happy for the Cincinnati Bengals. They didn't play particularly well, but when you're playing the Browns, late things can happen to ruin their day, and it did. I mean, Ohio might be the only state that watched this game.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know, because Joe Burrow certainly gets the bump from the ladies out there. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of the ladies out there watching Joe Cool go throw that football. How about this one? The Bengals had 7 yards of offense in the second half. It is I believe this is the correct stat. Someone might have to fact check me on this. The lowest amount of yards ever in a half for a team that went on to win the game. They had 7 yards. Like, that's insane. And the Browns shouldn't be a very good team. They didn't look like an overly great team. A win is a win. You can't apologize for that. But I don't know. Probably Josh is a Bengals fan. Let's ask him. Probably doesn't inspire a lot of confidence if you're a Bengals fan.
That it does not.
Yeah,
I'm very afraid that O-line can't block worth a damn. But however, this is like the Cincinnati Bengals playbook in look terrible for the first 4 to 5 weeks, and then they look unstoppable. And it really just comes down to the O-line and the defense, which those are some pretty big things.
There
are keys to winning.
All right. Packers beat the Lions. You were a little bit critical of the Lions in our preseason preview, Declan. You said, I don't know about that team. Are you still feeling that way?
Yes.
Did you want to elaborate?
No, like, listen, when you lose both your coordinators, especially a guy with Ben Johnson with the offensive and creative acumen he did, there is something to be said for that. Like, Jared Goff did not look good. And the Packers are probably better than people gave them credit for, than I gave them credit for. I'll show them that respect. But the Lions looked discombobulated. Like, they did not look remotely like the Lions team we had seen in the past 2 years. And I think a lot of that goes to losing Ben Johnson. Like, he meant so much to that offensive. He was such a vessel for the creativity that came from that offense. He's gone, and they just looked out of place. I still think they probably win 10 games, though.
Nick Chubb, what did you think of him, and what did you think of the Texans?
Man. That game just was boring.
Nobody could score.
You know what I mean? Like, that game was just boring. 14-9. Who was watching that? I don't know. The Texans, here's the other thing. I think CJ Stroud, I think some people, like, his rookie year was obviously great. Then he had a sophomore regression. And I think some people kind of thought, like, this is going to be the year where he's going to return to form. Sophomore slump is, it's kind of expected. It's a little understood. You got a year under your belt. There's some film out on you. But CJ Stroud does not look great. And he hasn't looked great for well over a year now. There's something to be said for that. And that Texans offense, just get it to Nico Collins. Should be an easy game plan.
Trevor Lawrence got the Jaguars a win. Is this a year where they kind of, push back on what has been, kind of a frustrating period in franchise history?
It certainly should be. The AFC South is very winnable. I don't look at a team in the AFC South and think that team is the runaway favorite. I think most people before the season thought it was the Texans. I don't think many people feel that way now. The Jags could do, maybe they still do. The Jags could do it. And Trevor Lawrence should be a good quarterback. He's getting paid $275 million. But I don't know. We'll see. We're just going to have to see how that division plays out.
Okay, it's 12:47. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Let's talk about the Monday Nighter. These are two old-timey smash-mouth football teams, and often the Bears, have a lot of very vocal fans who stop talking mid-November. How does it look for the Bears, and what about the Vikes?
I mean, this is just, like, we just have to see it. You know what I mean? Like, the Bears are going to be the Bears until we see them otherwise, and we don't know what JJ McCarthy is. So we just got to see this one play out. Like, I was looking at the lines at this one, trying to throw a little bit of cash down. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know who I want. I didn't know which spread I wanted to bet. I didn't know if I wanted to throw a money line bet down on one team. I didn't even know who I wanted to bet for anytime TD, because Justin Jefferson seems like such a safe option, but we don't know what JJ McCarthy is going to be. Ben Johnson, we don't know what he's going to do with that offense on the other side of the field, and they got a lot of talent around there. So this is one truly I'm staying away from. All I want to do is watch this game, see what happens, and then go from there. Because honestly, what would your take on either of these two teams be right now?
I go into a year, especially with the Vikings, assuming that they're going to be around. Well, it used to be 8-8, like 9-8, 8-9. Sometimes they'll get it to 12. Sometimes they'll get less than that. The Bears are, to me, they're not ghastly, but sometimes, man, they don't have a quarterback, or some coach has decided that he's going to go rogue and he's going to do it in Chicago. The Bears, to me, are kind of an outlier in that division. The Packers have owned it for a long, long time. And the Vikings sort of, they slide in when they can. Vikings, to me, are usually more promising. I don't know if that's the case this year, but that's how I always begin a year, with the Vikings being one of the teams that could be in the mix along with Green Bay. Now, it's different now. I get it because of what's happening with the other team in the division. But for me, I always put the Bears kind of at the bottom and then wait for them to surprise me.
That's a fair way to go about it. Putting the Bears at the bottom and then seeing what can happen is pretty much the exact way you need to assess the Chicago Bears in the NFC North.
Yeah, they're not for me. When was the last time they were like, that you said, okay, maybe Cutler could do this, and then they've got enough of everything that if he had a good year, they'd make the playoffs and go on a run.
Yeah, you weren't saying that very often. You maybe said it like once with Mitch Trubisky after that 12-4 season, and then very quickly realized that was not the case, and then never again. No. And you probably never said it with Justin Fields. You said it a little with Jay Cutler, to your credit. You probably never said it with like Kyle Orton, Rex Grossman. They have just been cursed at the quarterback position.
Even McMahon was hurt a lot.
Yeah. Jay Cutler's their best quarterback in franchise history, would you say, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but
and that is a pretty dark
that's
spot
sad,
to be.
right? Especially because if you just look at Green Bay, like in your lifetime,
Yeah,
it's
they've had-
ridiculous, right?
The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer.
It's just, and I mean, they've had some great runners and they've had some great tight ends and they had great defenses, but really, it's like the Bears go, yeah, everybody else goes and gets a quarterback who can do stuff, but we like our guy.
They might have a quarterback who can do stuff.
That's the dream.
I think Justin Fields. Freudian slip. I think Caleb's going to be fine-ish.
But
I think he's going to be good. I'll say good.
Okay, is he the best young quarterback in the league this year?
No.
How many are better than him?
Well, Jaden Daniels, obviously.
I hate Jaden.
I think most people would say Bo Nix, although I got to see Bo Nix's sophomore year. He didn't look great in the Denver game either. I know they beat up on Tennessee. So those two spring to mind. And then, I mean, am I missing an obvious one here?
No, I'm just saying that they never have the top guy. And I just,
and they were supposed to with Caleb.
Is Chicago a team that just eschews offensive like creativity? Like, when's the last time that you went, man, they've got 3 guys who are wideouts who can catch the ball. They've got a running back who can do some. When's the last time they had the Eagles offense?
Like last year was the last time I tried to think that with Romo Dunze, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and it didn't work. So like
maybe it's the coaching. Maybe all these athletes are fantastic.
It definitely was the coaching last year. Matt Eberflus, give me a break. Mark Trestman, CFL legend.
Got members.
Give me a break. Lovie Smith, give me a break.
I've got members of the Eberflus family on the phone right now. They would like to talk to you.
They would agree with me.
No,
you could get Matt on the phone and he would agree with me.
Maybe they need to get Willie Gault Jr. No? All right.
Chris Morris.
I like a list of the 5 greatest Bears quarterbacks. They've been playing since 1806.
There's a real argument. You're number 5.
Man. Is something happening with my hair on YouTube? I'm getting some DMs about it. Is something going wrong with my hair?
It's a question for Josh.
Josh, how's the hair look today?
The hair looks beautiful.
Okay.
I think people are just DMing you, telling you how handsome you are.
No, it's I've been told I look like a member of the flock of seagulls who I remember.
Oh, well, I mean, you do have like the middle part going on with the big.
I've got a haircut coming
on
Saturday, so yeah.
I couldn't tell.
What is Sam doing with his hair? What are we going to do with that?
It looks good.
Oh no, Sam, what are you doing with your hair?
Do you use some kind of shampoo?
He's just going to keep letting it grow unless it gets too bad.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know. Kids today, it feels like there was a period of time when I was a kid when everybody grew their hair really long. And then it was sort of like to piss off our parents. Are you mad at your parents? Is that why you're growing your hair? No. See, now it's more of a style choice. Back when I was a kid, it was to make your dad mad. And boy, did it. If it's draft, this is about McDavid. If it's draft picks like you say, then might as well sell Draisaitl too. He won't stay for a rebuild again.
But the team is good enough with Dry alone to at least be a playoff team. Maybe they are, but they're good enough with Dry to not have to go into a rebuild. He's that good of a player.
But what the Oilers have to be thinking is, okay, if we don't have McDavid next year, that's $16 million. How are we going to spend it? Are we going to offer sheet? What are we going to do? One of the problems that the Edmonton Oilers have always had is they are not cutting edge. Zito in Florida is cutting edge. St. Louis offer sheeting 2 guys, Broberg and Holloway, is cutting edge. The Oilers haven't been cutting edge, and my God, that's the time to do it right now. So go do it and think outside the box, paradigm shift. All those phrases I learned when I was at those blasted. Do you guys ever have those when you were coming up through radio and school, where you'd all sit in a room on a Sunday afternoon, drink beer and have pizza and do thought processes and think tanks?
That was more Monday to Friday at the nest during lunch.
Okay. All right. So you could do it on your own time instead of having to come in and do it.
Yeah, we didn't really do that.
All right. Not since the fridge and Peyton. See, that's what I think. I think, like Walter Payton was a great running back, a fantastic running back. And that was their off. I mean, they had McMahon who could throw the ball a little bit, but they were pretty one-dimensional compared to a modern NFL offense. Oilers aren't cutting edge, they're cutting corners. That's the thing, Eden, father of Arius. They're not that. They spend to the cap every year. They've hired people to help procure talent and develop talent. They are spending a whack of money on this particular area. They don't have great players coming up because they traded all the kids and all the picks. That was a GM decision to do that. It might turn in a quick hurry. I don't think it will. Just so we are clear, for the record, I do think Connor McDavid signs. I don't know if it's 2, I don't know if it's 4, but I think it gets done. And my question now is, when does it get done? And oh my goodness, you can feel the rumble in the jungle right now. This town is not prepared to go 3 months without a Connor McDavid contract. There's going to be parts of the car falling off going down the highway of Oilers Nation as time goes on. Okay. In hour number 2, we'll have declinations at 1:40. What are you doing on declinations today?
Mama MMA.
There you go. At 1:20, we'll talk to Jason Krueger about the Elks. We're going to get deep into that. What a game, what a weekend, and what a standings in the West right now in the Canadian Football League. And, of course, we'll talk about Connor McDavid and take your text. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Papa John's. Enjoy a taste of Hawaii with Papa John's Aloha Trio. Try the classic Hawaiian, super Hawaiian, or Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizzas for only $19.99 each at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Monday Night Football tonight at 6:15. We'll see the Bears and the Vikings concluding week 1 of the NFL regular season. MLB gets going today at 4:40 with a pair of games, Royals and Guardians and Nats and Marlins. We will also see the late game, Rockies and Dodgers, 8:10 first pitch for that one. News around the sporting world is Russell Wilson will remain the Giants' starting quarterback for Sunday's game against the Cowboys, according to head coach Brian Daboll. Texas coach Steve Sarkisian quickly dismissed a question about Arch Manning's health after social media videos of the Longhorns quarterback set off a weekend of speculation. A reporter had asked him that Manning appeared to be having throwing pains before Sarkisian cut him off. The Northern Super League has launched its expansion process to add an additional club in 2027. The league, which kicked off play last April, has teams in 6 Canadian markets. Said it has engaged with the Florida-based Whitecaps Sports Group to recruit and evaluate potential new club owners in Canada. And Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime climbing to number 13 in the world rankings today after his run to the men's singles semifinal at the U.S. Open. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, Stingray radio station. See.
There's Kyle Ferry warming up on the sideline. 2 plays to get 9 yards to keep the game going. Pressure was picked up. Chapin wide open. Touchdown. It's up for a game-winning field goal. From 32 yards. Open their final season in this stadium with a stunning comeback win. It's up for a game-winning field goal. from 32 yards. Prater. The Bills open their final season in this stadium with a stunning win. Call it a gain of 5 and 2nd and 5. Scramble. The fake. The throw. It's intercepted. Intended for Dylan Mitchell. It's up in the hands of Tavon Campbell, who had the big interception on the 2-point try at the end of the game last week. Call it a gain of 5 and 2nd and 5.
Running between the expo and the arena. This is more than a rodeo. It's a showdown. Get your tickets now at cfr.ca.
Here's the lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Oh, just like in general? Yeah, of course. Yep. Well, I went to Dallas to watch the Heat a little over a year ago.
I'm going to do this. Or if I'm going to definitely have hotels everywhere I'm going because I don't want to get there and have to look for a hotel, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You plan. So that's my point about the Edmonton Oilers. You have to, you are assuming in good faith, as Connor McDavid has, and you have treated him for 10 years, there's a great relationship. So now you're waiting patiently for McDavid, and whatever his decision is, you will deal with that. But you have to have an idea about where you're going. If this doesn't work out, if there isn't, a contract, if he comes to you on December the 8th and says, you know what, guys, I'm going to take it to free agency. It doesn't mean I'm not going to sign with you, but I'm going to see what's out there. Then you have to act accordingly. And that does not mean a trade. I don't think they can trade him. I honestly don't think he's a guy you can trade. You're never going to get, is one Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl playoff run worth, whatever you're going to get in return? Probably. Because you're not going to get a lot because he has a no movement clause. He can go wherever he wants to go. And if the team he's going to isn't going to be able to sign him to a long-term deal, you're just getting draft picks. That's it. Those are the things to worry about if you're an Oilers fan. In my opinion, when McDavid signed the max term contract after his ELC, he paid his dues to the franchise and city from Whaler. And he may feel that way. He may feel exactly that way. So, yeah, I think those are things worth contemplating and talking about. And I think we can do that without, calling names and saying various things. Coach Al says, I wonder if Connor's wife wants out like Gretzky did. She's from St. Louis. Connor's wife from Ontario. And get this, she's 1 year older than Connor. None of that matters. And I don't know if you read the history of Wayne and Janet Gretzky, but there was so many rumors at the time that she wanted him to go to Hollywood so she can be a successful actress. She was already a successful actress, and they ended up raising a family together. So that idea was, I think Terry Jones wrote an article in The Sun during that period of time that squashed that completely. That wasn't what it was about. They got married. Peter Pocklington needed to pay some bills, and he sold him to Los Angeles. That's the story. Morning glory. Look at McDavid's character. He's reserved, professional, and by all accounts, a respectful man. He would be the biggest blank if he had no intention of re-signing and not telling the Oilers until it's too late. He's signing, albeit more than 2 years, only for 2 years, maybe, but he's here for a bit longer. His character tells you that, just like Oilers fans' character is telling you that they are something else. From Edmonton Rob. I think that it goes, I think you can stop being mad and saying nasty things before then. Does he have the right to make a decision based on what his priorities are and the priorities of his family? The answer is yes. So after that, you wait, as the Oilers are doing. I think fans, you have a right to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Talk about Connor McDavid in the Stanley Cup final as, he didn't win the Stanley Cup. He didn't score a goal in game 6. All those things are true. But that isn't really germane to the conversation about a contract. The Oilers would sign him to a contract today for the max and for 8 years. The money is not an issue. The term isn't even an issue. It's, does he want to play here? And at least at some level, there is question about that situation, and we don't have an answer. And people don't like uncertainty. It's just true. Ask anybody who goes to the grocery store how happy they are about the price of steaks. People like certainty. I love all the people with crystal balls out right now. Jackson has stated it's not a negotiation. I believe it's just a matter of how many years Connor will commit and if he'll stick around for the whole contract. Lauren has too many business ventures to leave now. I don't think that's germane. I don't. My argument is that you can't let him walk for free if it came to that. Just ask the Leafs. Example Marner. I agree with that, except you're just going to get picks. Who's going to trade you their superstar in the middle of a year where they're trying to win the Stanley Cup? They want McDavid and their superstar to help them win the Stanley Cup. The Kings didn't trade Lowetide to the Edmonton Oilers. McDavid isn't going anywhere. They had their weddings in Europe. They spent a lot of time on a beach. He's not going anywhere. That's from Terry. LT, what's up with Hyman? Well, there was an article from Mark Spector. I think Gregor wrote about it too. He's not shooting the puck yet. He's still recovering from that injury, and we'll see, right? And that's something that was known. There's also the Frederick high ankle sprain. We'll find out about that. One of the reasons why I think Stan Bowman correctly did a Shop the World for You international stereo summer where he was getting guys. He was trying to acquire and sign as many guys who could play the wing, like Andrew Mangiapane and Trent Frederick. Obviously, Ike Howard is a part of the team. Matt Savoy was in the AHL. He'll be in the NHL this year. They also signed David Tomasak. Kasperi Kapanen's been signed. They've layered and marbled a lot of possible options, not as a full replacement for Hyman because that's impossible. But they've covered the depth chart as well as they can. Messier and Gretzky spent more time together than 29 and 97. Messier left New York for New York. Friendship means bupkis. Well, it is a business, as I said earlier. I was a fan of Tavares until he screwed over the Islanders. McDavid is a higher cut of a man from Iron. Did Tavares break a contract when he went to the Leafs, or did he just sign a new contract with Toronto? I don't think he held out and then went. He was a free agent, then he signed. Why are you insinuating picks are worthless, Tide? All you ever talk about is the value in them, from DeBear. Well, they have value, but not to a team like Edmonton trying to win the Stanley Cup. If the Oilers were to acquire 4 first-round picks for Connor McDavid, they would do well to trade them immediately for something that could help them right away. By the time a draft pick in 2026 reaches the NHL, everybody's going to be old, including me. And Declan will be older. Not sure if you touched on this today, but any thoughts on Klim Kostin returning on a PTO? I'd love to have him as a gritty bottom 6 option, maybe Max Jones replacement, getting crowded in the forward group. Well, they already have Max Jones. Kostin is a player who was very popular here and played well here, but he did not play out well afterwards. And I mean, we'll see in the next while. Some of this may have to do with how many injured guys there are on the team. But right now, you can do the math and the orders. If anything, they probably have an extra forward. That doesn't mean it'll stay that way. McDavid master conspiracy from JR and Red Deer. He doesn't sign this year, gets traded at the deadline for a boatload of picks and prospects, then re-signs with the Oilers, having successfully restocked the cupboard. Well, it's brilliant in theory, but teams aren't going to sign or trade for McDavid as a rental. They're going to want to have some kind of security before they, trade off all those draft picks and et cetera and prospects. I think we're going down a road here that isn't necessarily going to be a key component of the future conversation. I think he signs here. Anyone else shocked that Howard isn't skating with the team during captain skates? Terry from North Edmonton. No. I mean, is everybody there? Everybody but him there? I think people look for things to bitch about, to be honest with you. He's got some swagger, so people are going to be on the lookout for it, but I just don't think that's the case. Tavares had the Islanders thinking he'd sign and left them for nothing. Remember the Tavares jersey burnings? They hate that guy. Well, I don't think Connor McDavid has implied he's going to sign or not sign. And you can be as mad as you want. You can say whatever online you want. The really important thing is that the Edmonton Oilers have a plan. Next July 1st, they might have $16 extra million. What does that look like? What did the Calgary Flames do after they lost Kachuk and Gaudreau? They made, I think, some moves that were not necessarily as productive as they could have been. And I think Craig Conroy is a good general manager. He's done well. I think the Edmonton Oilers have to be really careful about how they handle this. Obviously, you want publicly to be completely on board with the McDavid signing, which I think will happen. But somewhere in the bowels of the building, there has to be somebody with a Bunsen burner and an Adiator and whatever hell else they have, figuring out what might happen if Connor McDavid leaves via free agency next year. How are we going to handle this? Are they going to explore a mid-season trade? I don't think they will. Are they prepared to go July 1 or after the season? Are they prepared to go all in on winning the Stanley Cup? Assuming that if the Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup, Connor McDavid will re-sign here? Those are the conversations I'm sure they are having right now. All right. 116. On the way, declinations as we go Mama MMA at 140. Jason Gregor straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
September, back to class and
All right, Josh, can you take us off YouTube? The NFL is back in the Arizona. Sam, do you feel like you have a pretty good handle on things with the board? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have you off this next segment here. You can just use these ones if you want. No, all right. Yeah, no. They are pretty beat up.
The Sports 1440 Birdie Bar, presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic,
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
What's better than a family reunion? Getting the family discount. At Nisku Ford, you're not just a customer, you're part of the family. And we believe our family deserves the very best.
Our legendary employee pricing has been held over into September. So if you just got back from summer vacation, you can still get the Ford you want with exclusive deals reserved for our closest kin.
The coffee's on. Drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
What keeps Alberta business moving? It's pallets, whether you're shipping, manufacturing, or looking for in-house storage solutions. Hi, it's Andrew with the Pallet Recycler here in Edmonton, and we've been providing reliable, affordable, recycled, and custom pallets for local businesses for the past 30 years. Contact the Pallet Recycler at 825-474-1981 to find out why recycled pallets are the most cost-effective way to move and store your product. Learn about our recycling program as well at thepalletrecycler.ca.
At Fountain Tire, we're fluent in saving you money.
Fluent?
Yes, we've mastered the language of deals. Like right now, you can save up to 25% off select tires and up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires. Plus, $50 off $150 service when you buy those tires. All until October 18th.
I'm sorry, I don't speak deals.
Spend less, save more when you buy Round Black things from us.
Oh, got it.
Restrictions apply. Book your appointment online today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Great news! Metal Supermarkets now offers convenient welding services for their customers. Simple welds, steel, stainless, and aluminum welding. TIG, MIG, and stick are all available. TIG, MIG, and stick. Sounds like my old garage band with their kooky nicknames. Yeah, we were huge in Japan, but never really caught on here. Your loss, Edmonton. Metal Supermarkets, your local convenience stores for... and welding. Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Let's drop.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
In studio, Jason Krueger showing up early. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, well, I came just for the shirt.
There you go.
Look
Bob Marley, right?
Look at that shirt you're wearing. Like, oh my God. Are we having reefers in here? What's happening? It's fantastic.
We don't, but we could.
Yeah.
It's legal now. Peter Tosh was right. So look, great game of football by the Edmonton Elks, and a huge game. We talked about it. The fact that BC lost, and now it's real. I don't know what's going to happen, but this football team has a chance at something.
Well, look at the playoff. There's really 6 teams battling for the final, I would say, 3 playoff spots. So Hamilton's first in the East, and I think they're pretty comfortable. Montreal has the same record as Edmonton and BC, and they're 1 game up on Toronto and Ottawa, who BC and Edmonton are currently ahead of in the crossover. But don't suddenly the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who, by the way, their starting quarterback, unfortunately, suffered maybe another concussion.
Yeah.
And they're only 1 game up on BC and Edmonton. They're 6-6. Lions and the Elks are 5-5. Edmonton, of course, has won 4 of their last 5. And now they're on the road for 2 road games. And then they got Saskatchewan. And these are games that, hey, if you want to make the playoffs now, and I think the playoffs are a legit, people can say, absolutely. Who cares how you start in the CFL? Because they stumbled early. You know, there's a few games they probably, like that Hamilton one still, right? If Grant catches the ball, Julian Grant, then they win the game. But, you know, the Elks are right there. And I look at their defensive line had its best game by a mile. Like, it's not even close. They had their defensive line now had 6 total sacks from their D-line. Their defense had 10, but defensive linemen had 6 through the first 11 games of the season. Then they had 4. And Robbie Smith wasn't dressed, nor was Jake Seresna. Like, neither one of those guys, now Smith's been banged up, they really haven't lived up to the big offseason signing. But now you got Noah Taylor and Barlow and, you know, these other guys. They just had a little bit more speed and a little bit more aggressiveness. They were in the face, because if you look at the passing yards from Vernon Adams Jr. So the first 2 series, they scored a touchdown and a field goal, did the Stampeders. And he completed 4 of 6 for 80 yards. The rest of the game, he only completed 47% of his passes. He was 11 for 23 and just like 130 yards. Like, they got to him. and they pressured him. So even when they didn't sack him, he was incompleting passes. So I give their defense a lot of credit. It's been on a progression from the start of the year when they were averaging 30 points a game in the first 4 or 5 games. And then obviously Justin Rankin continues to be good. Like, it's funny. The 90-yard run was obviously unreal. You haven't seen one that long since Jim Germany, at least for the double E.
78, 77?
77. He did it, ran 94 yards. But that 31-yard run now, where the little stutter step, and then the spin move like that, I was like, God, that might be more impressive than a 90-yarder. So, he was good. And the thing was, like, obviously those 2 runs gave him 121 yards. But on his other 14 carries, he still had 83 yards. So on the other 14, he was still averaging 5.8 yards per carry. So it was a great game by him. I thought the offensive line played good, except I thought Ivy struggled. Twice he had holding calls that were negated because the Elks didn't execute on second down. So they just negated the penalty, did Calgary. But had they completed a first down,
it would have been
called back. And so he was struggling. And they got Carter O'Donnell coming. So that's going to be a big boost for them.
Yeah, it's exciting because for me, I remember driving up from Red Deer to watch Warren Moon play. I mean, I love this football team, but it's been a while really since, COVID. They've been up and down. There've been some lots of bad headlines. And as a fan, I just want to watch this football team do well. And it feels like it's back a little bit. At least for me, it does. My friends are older guys, and they're talking about the Elks in a way that they haven't in several years.
Well, my son's 11, and he's become a big football fan. He loves going to the games. He loves running on the field afterwards. And we're in the crowd. And really from the get-go, it's the biggest crowd he's seen. Yeah. But it was loud. And he's like, Dad, this feels like more fun because you get caught up in the excitement. There was cheers. Obviously, when they had the huge sack in the fourth quarter, the crowd went bananas, and obviously on the Rankin runs a few times. And there's 28,365 fans. It's a good crowd. Now they've got some road games here. There's no excuse for fans because that was a perfect day for football. Yeah. And if September continues like this, you got the Riders coming to town on Saturday night, the 27th. That should be a big crowd again. And I know that there was a few tickets in there that were for kids, but I was at the game. There wasn't that many tickets that were kids.
And it's not that many moons ago when the offensive line was climbing into the stands to hug the fans because they'd won a playoff game here and they were heading for somewhere special. And that can get back, but the quality on the field is coming together, and that's the greatest thing about this.
It's coming together. And you even saw the Elks, they had the big interception, and then there's all the fans in the end zone party area. Yeah. And the players smart. They're running down there, they're high-fiving those fans. That's how you have to engage with your fan base. And you know what? There's lots of people that I felt like that was the most important win for the franchise in maybe a decade.
Yeah. I would not disagree with that.
Right. When you consider biggest crowd in a long time against your arch rival and the opportunity to now put yourself legitimately in the playoff mix, and you won the game with some exciting plays on both sides of the ball. Javon Leake obviously had a great return on the missed field goal, so there's another exciting play. It was everything you could ask for as that organization. Is like there's lots of steps that are going to have to go to rebuild the team and rebuild the fans to come out and get back to at least 25,000 every night. Yeah. But that's a step in the right direction. There'll be lots of people who went to that game are like, well, I want to go again. And it is Saskatchewan, so it's a natural rivalry, so that should make it better.
Yeah. In the NFL, I don't know the last game I saw that was a regular season game, certainly week 1 game. The Bills and the Ravens.
Oh, dude.
Oh, my God. I was kind of nodding off in the second half, and then I couldn't get to sleep after the game.
Well, I think right now, today, those are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Right. Like I know Patrick Mahomes has had the best career, but right now, today, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, I think are the 2 best quarterbacks. Joe Burrow's close, no question, but he just doesn't have the scrambling ability of those 2. Right?
Jackson, that run.
Like Jackson's great, but what about Josh Allen in the third quarter? Yes. Right? Like he's so big and strong, and he can run away from everybody. It was, that was an electrifying finish. He got over 80 points. There was only 2 games in the NFL that were the overs. Yeah. Right. So don't get me started here on, there's so much offense in the NFL. Stop, pump the brakes. But that game, like when you watch the quarterbacking position specifically, you just look at those 2, and then there's such a drop off from lots of the other guys. It's hard to find an elite level QB. God, you wish the Bills and the Ravens would play again. Unfortunately, they don't. But that was an unbelievable start. The worst part is that's probably going to be the best Sunday night football game of the year. It's
It,
going to
it
be
might
very
be the
hard
best
to beat.
game of the year.
Yeah, like it was.
Oh my God,
it was unreal. And I get you want to start the season, but part of me is like, God, wish I could see that again. Now, obviously, maybe in the playoffs you meet, but like what a comeback! Bills fans must be going absolutely crazy. It's at home, but the funny thing was, the Bills looked like they had no interest in tackling Derrick Henry, and then he fumbles in the fourth quarter.
It's crazy.
You're just kind of like, what happened?
Football, man. Spending a lot of time reading and interacting with Oilers fans today, worried about Connor McDavid. I said I still think it's going to be a 2 to 4 year deal. Where are you with the McDavid contract right now?
Yeah, that's the number I would come in. And honestly, if I would tell people to probably take a deep breath. I don't think it's going to sign right away.
No.
And that's fine. Honestly, I don't really believe it matters when he signs, other than for the well-being of some people because they're worry warts, and that's okay. Some people worry more than others. But as I've outlined many times, where is Connor McDavid going that gives him a better chance to win? And at the and he is the one who's repeated, winning's my main focus. Winning's my main focus for a lot of reasons. So, I've been talking to people and looking at different scenarios, and the one that I found interesting was that, people say, hey, McDavid's going to be patient because he wants to see, because the truth of the matter is the last 2 regular seasons, you can make the argument Draisaitl's been better.
Yeah.
In the regular season. Obviously, the 2024 playoffs by McDavid were all world. They were unreal. But Leon Draisaitl's been probably more consistent. He's definitely a little bit better defensively. I don't think there's much debate on that.
Right.
So, you look at McDavid, says, hey, if I have to sign a 2-year deal at the same number as Leon, whatever, or a little bit more, I don't think he cares because he wants to win. He wants to win so bad that he would take 14 instead of 16. Yeah. Now he might take 16, and that's still fine when you consider with the salary cap from the time Draisaitl signed to when McDavid signed, the salary cap's going up. But there's very few places. I went through the teams. I know someone says, well, if you add McDavid, you're automatically better. I'm like, okay, that's true. But then tell me the teams who have Draisaitl. Edmonton has Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody other than Colorado has a player who's close, and that's McKinnon.
Yeah.
Right? There's no one else.
There's the cap to keep in mind. There's the regular season to keep in mind. And there's just very few teams who are in the window to win who have that kind of ability. And as you say, does Carolina have a better chance to win than the Edmonton Oilers?
Is there a Leon Draisaitl in Carolina?
No,
there isn't.
So and then the other side of it is, I've said this before. I've said it all along, actually. I don't think the Oilers can trade Connor McDavid. It's a no-win situation.
Well, I guess I would look at it this way. If now, not this year, because I fully believe he'll sign, but let's say he signs a 3-year deal out. And in 3 years, he's entering last year of his deal. They haven't won. He's frustrated. They're frustrated. You could trade him then. People wouldn't like it.
Right.
But you could trade him then and probably get a decent return. You still have Leon Draisaitl and Bill. That would be worst case scenario for Oilers fans. I understand it. But you'd rather trade McDavid and get something than lose him for nothing.
Well, you don't want to get Marnered, right? That's
exactly.
Yeah,
but I don't. This season, I don't want to put that out there. I don't believe for any stretch this year that McDavid is leaving. Now, at the end of his next contract, because I don't expect it to be long. Well, that could be a different story because I can't read the future that far down the path. But right now, the Oilers are in a window to win. He knows it, and he wants to win. So I fully expect him to be here for at least a few more seasons after this coming year.
Do you think that the markets like Toronto driving this, and including media, but also fans, is helping Oilers fans reach a fever pitch on this? Or do you think, for me, it's like we have to agree that Connor McDavid has the opportunity to ponder the idea of what he wants to do next. That's his right. He reached the free agency next year. After that, you just kind of wait for him to say and the organization to say. But people have anxiety about this sort of thing. So when Oiler fans are reacting, and there's some negative stuff out there about McDavid from what appears to be Oilers fans, but I think that there's a lot of people who've gotten ahead of themselves on this story. We're nowhere near any of these things.
Yeah, I guess I don't. Who are these people? Somebody sent me Cathal Kelly. Honestly,
I didn't read it. I didn't read it.
Anybody? He's a troll who's a journalist. Let's just call a spade a spade. The last time that he wrote something meaningful would be the first time. So I'm sorry, but he's not somebody who writes stuff to get reaction. And guess what? You reacted, he got you. No. That's what he's writing to do. That's what he's always done. He's He's clearly got a little insecurity because he's taken pot shots at Edmonton, the city, and other things
Yeah, I've
for
never
many
understood
times.
that.
Like,
Yeah,
so, but if that's the guy that you're worried about, then you need to take a deep breath and be like, why am I getting sucked in to his stupidity? Just don't. You have to look at who it is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody credible in the hockey world suggest McDavid's leaving.
No, and the estimates are a little bit all over the place because there's uncertainty with the cap too, right? And
Well, the
where
cap's-
it's going.
Like for years, this is pre-McDavid contract. I've said for 5 years, the NHL should have a max 5-year term after the age of 28.
Yeah.
So, if McDavid signs 2 or 4 year deal in that range, I don't see that as a negative at all. And I've always said for the best players, if you feel that you want to stay at the top and it's important, that's what the best NBA players do.
Yes.
Right? They sign short-term deals.
Yeah.
So, and they all survive. Like a few guys leave here and there. That's fine. But it's only the NHL. Like now MLB, I guess, has longer term deals, and some of them are going to be horrific.
Yeah.
But does the NFL have 9-year deals for their best players? No. So you don't need it. You've gotten accustomed to it, but it doesn't mean you need it.
Yeah, and those lifetime contracts that they used to sign, they're going away too. All
Yeah,
right,
you're the only one who has one of those left.
and it's a shock to everybody. What's coming up on the show?
Woodley will be by. We start our previews where he likes to rank each division. We go division by division 1 week for the next 4 weeks leading up to the regular season, and where goalies rank. And he's always got a few that people are kind of like, what? And then at the end of the year, you're like, oh god, he was pretty close again.
Yeah.
So we'll do that with Woodley. Obviously, we'll talk more about the Elks, the CFL, NFL. Like, what an unreal weekend. You look at tennis. If you're a tennis fan, if you're an F1 fan, Max Verstappen had the fastest race, that they've ever seen there. You look at rookie camps starting all over the place. Like, God, there's so much going on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Baseball, their bullpen was actually really good in New York. Like, they barely gave up any runs.
I know,
right? Like the Jays scored runs in the first game, but then were unable to score some runs in the second and third game. But you know what? They lost a game, whatever. They're up by 2. It's going to be a big week for them. They have the day off and then they get going. So man, like there is so much going on. Like, I love it. Fantasy football.
It's crazy.
Some people, Connor Halley's still on the high of Herbert. So he'll be flying in here. I don't know if his fantasy team did anything. So, well, we'll talk about, I'm in a guillotine league. I don't know if you've ever been in a guillotine league.
Is that where you choose the team that's going to?
No, a guillotine league is so you draft your team in fantasy,
Right.
and there's 18 teams in our league. And basically it's whoever has the most points to the fewest points. If you have the fewest points, you're done for the year. You're out.
Wow.
Right. And it just goes, somebody gets chopped out every week, I should say. And so it's first time I've ever been in one. And so I was kind of nervous. I'm just like, God, like, I just don't want to be the first guy out. And so I wasn't even close. So that's good. But now here's where it becomes interesting because all the players he drafted and everybody else is a free agent.
Oh, wow.
So
you
his
can
guys
get
go
'em.
back in the pot. So you obviously have fab dollars and you have to manage that to see. But so it's kind of interesting. It makes it more fun and the thing is, I'm like, well, what if you're the best team for the first 7 weeks and then you have one bad week? Well, you're out.
You're screwed.
So that's what kind of makes it interesting. So you don't have to be the best, Al.
Right.
Just don't be the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
The analogy all the time. You don't have to be the fastest friend.
Right.
Just don't be the slowest when the bear's chasing you.
Just hang in there. Quickly, before I let you go, any guesses on any PTOs for the Oilers?
Last time I spoke to Stan Bowman, you know what? He mentioned that, like, you think they kind of have 16 forwards that you could argue.
Yeah.
If you like, Max Jones played in the NHL last year.
Yes.
So that's 16 forwards who have been at now. Ike Howard, I'm putting as one of 16. I know I've never played a game, but he's obviously in that conversation.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need any more, right? He had mentioned there's a chance, but they hadn't gone down the road. Now, this was 2 weeks ago before I went on holiday. So I could see one, Al, but like, why do you need a defenseman on a PTO unless you just want bodies? Because look, they've got four lefties. We know that.
Yeah.
And on the right side, Bouchard's a no-brainer. Then you've got Emberson, Stetcher, and Regula all battling for the 6 and 7 spot.
Yeah.
Is there a guy out there? Like, there's no right shot centers available.
No.
So I don't really see one. I guess they could bring a goalie in, but a goalie on a PTO
it's
very odd to me.
All you're doing is giving rest to your 2 starters. Basically, you can give those to the AHL.
Well,
guys.
and you know what? They've got 6 goalies here.
Yeah,
So you can split it up, and Skinner will get his 3 games and Pickard will probably get his 3 games and away they go. But I to be honest, I haven't looked to make a circle back on that, but I don't know. Do you think they'll bring in any?
No, I don't. I just don't see anybody out there. And everybody's talking about Klim Kostin, but they've got Max Jones. So I don't know.
And here's the truth about Klim Kostin. energetic player, loved everything about him. Fight, tough, all that stuff. Wasn't reliable defensively.
No.
And Chris Knobloch, are you going to be on their fourth line? He doesn't kill penalties.
No.
So how's he going to get into the flow of things? So I look and say, well, if you look at your forwards right now, right? Like, I don't even know where Tomasik's playing.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Now everybody will get a little bit more time because Hyman's unlikely to start the regular season. Right. So Matt Savoy, Mangiapane, Tomasik, those guys could get a little bit more time in the top six. But like, you got Noah Philp here.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to put him on waivers?
No, I don't.
If Raphael Lavoie got claimed on waivers, I think Noah Philp probably get claimed. He's a right shot center who's 6 feet tall, can fight. Like, so.
But he's a better overall player, 200-foot player compared to Lavoie.
Yeah. And I think he's probably, he's not as tough as Clem Costin. Maybe doesn't, but he's big. He skates very well. So I'm not one, you kind of have to remove the emotion of Clem Costin.
No.
Clem Costin couldn't play regularly in San Jose for whatever reason last year.
No.
Is he going to come into Edmonton again? Like, rarely, Al. It's like breaking up. Everybody has a girlfriend. Oh, yeah, a boyfriend. Oh, yeah, really. You think about all the things you liked about him, but then you probably don't ever think about the things you didn't like. That's why you broke up.
Yep. No, the leopard doesn't change his spots. Jason, thanks. Look forward to the show.
See ya.
All right. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
It's the Brick's famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department. Like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
That's the sound of Harley you've been dreaming about. And this is the sound of opportunity knocking. And it's coming from Harley-Davidson of Edmonton.
Our end of season sale is on, and we're clearing the floor with unbelievable prices on a huge selection of pre-owned bikes. This is your moment to own the legend.
Find your dream machine at Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail. Locally owned and operated by the Kent family and celebrating 45 years.
$1 plus tax for a smooth, small premium roast coffee at McDonald's? That means rich, full-bodied flavor at a price that's just as satisfying. Must be McCafe. Enjoy a small McCafe premium roast coffee for just $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's in Canada. Prices exclude delivery.
At Fountain Tire, get up to 25% off select tires, up to $125 off a set of 4 select Goodyear tires, and $50 off $150 service until October 18th. Restrictions apply. Book today. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
It's the Brick's famous tent sale. Save up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store, with more amazing deals arriving daily in every department. Like up to $1,800 off power reclining sectionals and up to $700 off big screen TVs. Buy more, save more when you buy 2 or more major appliances, up to $1,000 off. Plus, get a free Bluetooth party speaker when you spend $9.99 or more on furniture. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The ATB Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
Advance tickets are $20 or upgrade your access to sit greenside in the Sports 1440 Birdie Bar. Presented by Sleeman.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids age 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATB Classic.
September 11th to 14th.
Get your tickets at atbclassic.com.
I'm here with Mike, a Ford employee, to hook me up with a deal on a new F-150.
Oh, with Ford employee pricing on now, you don't really need me. You pay what we pay.
So I just get your price?
Yep. Tell them Mike sent you. Or Maria, or Namig.
Ford employee pricing is here, where you pay what Mike pays.
Or Genevieve, or Elise, or Kevy.
Right now, get up to $12,975 in total price adjustments on eligible 2025 F-150 models. For details, visit your Alberta Ford store or Ford.ca.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 and YouTube, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Employee pricing continues at wolfgmcbuick.com. And we play that song from Supertramp as we lost Rick Davies, keyboardist, vocalist, songwriter for Supertramp. And a lot of people thinking about Supertramp and their memories of 8 tracks and cassettes and LPs too back in the day. All right, it is time for Declinations at 1:45. Brought to you by Elks Nation, 2 weekly podcasts with Eddie Steele and Declan Krueger, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth Double E football coverage available on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. And now we're joined by the way, Sam brought us in. That was the first time he's done anything on the show, right?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
And brought us in last segment as well.
Okay, all right. So well
got
done.
Jason up, got Jason recorded.
Wow. Look at him go.
So flying.
All right. So we're moments away from not needing Josh anymore?
Completely different jobs, not even remote, not even comparable.
Okay, so
apples to oranges.
So I'm me sliding Josh out of the scene incorrect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad take by you.
Then it's
hey,
you.
hands up, man. It's okay.
So maybe
Bad
it's
take,
you
though.
who's heading out.
Lowetide, we all know who's heading out.
Oh, come on.
No,
man.
hey, I'm kidding.
Look,
I would never.
There's a big banister over there. If I get close enough, just push me over. It'll be fine.
I would not. I got to sneeze, I think. No, I saved it. Thought I had to sneeze.
You're the man. All right, Mama
Okay.
MMA, Muster.
Yeah, I mean, won't make this one too long. We'll get back to some oil chat to round out the show here. But there was UFC Paris this past weekend. Did want to talk about it because there is a bit of a mini tournament at middleweight, and Nasruddin Imavov and Kyle Barala were fighting this weekend. And Fluffy Hernandez and Renier de Ridder are going to be fighting a little bit later on. And the implication has kind of been the most impressive winner of those two matchups is going to fight newly crowned middleweight champion Hamza Chimaev. And Nasruddin Imavov goes out this one in front of his home country and he shuts out Kyle Barala, and he looks good doing it, but it wasn't maybe the star-making kind of statement performance you would have wanted for a guy who's going to challenge for the middleweight title next. Now, he very well could be in line. We're going to see what happens in the Fluffy Hernandez and Renier de Ridder fight.
Is that man? Is there a person named Fluffy?
Well, his name's Anthony.
Okay.
Anthony Hernandez, but his nickname is Fluffy.
Does he like that name?
Oh, yeah, he rolls with it.
Okay.
And he's a heck of a fighter, man. He blankets people. He takes them down. He controls them. He kind of has almost a Dagestan-style approach, but he's obviously a Mexican-American gentleman. He's a really good fighter, and he's fighting a really, really tough, really game opponent, highly credentialed from other organizations who just beat Robert Whitaker in Renier de Ridder. So I'm really looking forward to see if someone in that match can make a statement and kind of separate themselves from Nasruddin Imavov to fight for the middleweight title. But listen, if that's like a bad fight or somehow ends in a draw or it's like a weird no contest, Nasruddin Imavov could have put himself in position following this weekend to fight for the middleweight world title.
Okay.
Co-main event, Mauricio Houfi and Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit Saint-Denis, another Frenchman who got the win in front of his hometown via face crank. Benoit Saint-Denis is a guy who was kind of, I think, fraud checked a little bit following his, or thought of to be fraud checked following his loss to Dustin Poirier. He was ranked 12th and he got a shot with Dustin Poirier, who was, the 4th ranked guy in the world, I believe, at the time. He gets knocked out in the second round. Following that fight, he has another fight in Paris where he gets stopped by Renato Moicano, and I think loses a little bit of his shine a little bit because he was a guy who was putting up some pretty incredible stoppage performances in the lightweight division and was getting fast-tracked a little bit, and he fell off, and people kind of wrote him off. And now with Mauricio Houfi, who he was a guy who was getting fast-tracked, and he was a guy who was a lot of hype behind him, and he goes out there, Benoit Saint-Denis that is, and puts him away in pretty spectacular fashion. So the prospect who was once killed has now killed the next prospect. And it's just an interesting spot for him to be in. I think the landscape of the lightweight division doesn't look great for someone who's at the back end of the top 15. You got Max Holloway, who's now 2-0 at lightweight in the recent history, I guess I'll say, with the wins over Justin, and Dustin has history with the champion. You got a guy in Arman Sarukian who needs to be fighting for the title at some point. You got Paddy Pimblett, who the UFC loves and who got a big win against Michael Chandler. So it's a guy who's 2-2 in his last 4 and kind of had 2 uninspiring losses. It's going to be tough for him to make the climb, but he has the ability to do just that, to make the climb. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with him. Mauricio Hufi, the Fighting Nerds, they really that's the fight camp out of Brazil that him and Calbaralo are a part of. Carlos Prates also fighting out of there. Jean Silva also fighting out of there. They had a spectacular 2024. Just like incredible as a gym. We're beating everybody, had a lot of swagger doing it. We're looking great, stoppage wins. And so far in 2025, the buck has kind of stopped. Carlos Prates lost to Machado Gary. I know he got a big win his last time out. Calbaralo and Mauricio Hufi here. And Jean Silva has a big fight with Diego Lopez coming up. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in that one. But a bit of a downslide for the camp. And then Paul Craig gets elbowed into oblivion and retires. And Paul Craig, this is going to be a really niche reference, but anyone who knows fighting knows that there is no greater certainty in life than Paul Craig pulling guard and then being knocked out while being in guard. It's happened. It feels like it's happened like 10 times. And I just imagine his coaches screaming at him like, Paul, please do not pull guard here and get elbowed into oblivion. We can't have this happen for the 7th fight, our last 10 times out. Please do something else. And Paul Craig just being like, nah, I'm going to pull guard and get elbowed into oblivion. It's kind of what he always does. And this time, boy, it was a bad knock. He got knocked out bad. And he sails off into, I'm not going to say it sails off into the sunset, but he does retire. And rightfully so. He's got some great wins. He beat Jamal Hill. He beat Magomed Ankalaev. He stopped both of them, but kind of fluke wins. And now I think the sport has probably passed him by a little bit. And it was evidenced by this performance. Yeah, that was my recap.
Well, I love it. There's so many names in there that are colorful. I half expected I was going to have to interject and say you're making up some of them, but I believe you.
Yeah, no, well, you did a little bit with Fluffy Hernandez. You said there's no way his name is Fluffy.
No, I said, does he okay with that name?
Oh,
is
yeah,
that his real
that's
name?
right. You're right. Yeah, Anthony Hernandez. But I'm telling you, man, he is a blank.
I
He's
just
a polar
worry
bear
about
out there.
these people. I mean, maybe
Oh,
they
for
don't
sure.
like it. Maybe it hurts their feelings.
Hey, don't worry about their feelings, man. Worry about their brains. That's what we really got to worry about.
Honestly,
That's a blood sport.
I love boxing. I watch boxing every chance I got. And then I didn't watch it anymore because I worry about the boxers.
I'm so glad you brought that up. While we still have time here with Mama MMA, I can't believe I almost didn't bring this up. Canelo and Bud Crawford this weekend. It's going to be live on Netflix. It is probably.
Hey, I have Netflix. I can watch that.
Two of the best pound for pound fighters in the world for sure. Bud Crawford, you could make a legitimate argument, the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world, has never fought above 154 pounds. He's going up to 168 to fight Canelo. These are two historically, generationally great fighters fighting.
Love it.
And Bud Crawford, one of only 3 fighters to be undisputed in 2 different weight classes. Canelo, obviously kind of the face of boxing here. This is, if you have nothing to do September 13th, even if you have something to do, blow off your plans, because this fight is the stature of, say, a Leonard Duran or a Hagler Hearns or a De La Hoya, Julio Cesar Chavez.
And that's rare these days.
Oh my goodness, is it ever rare? This is the best fight. I'm going to go ahead and say this. This is the best fight that could have been made in boxing sans a prime Mayweather Pacquiao in the last 30 years.
Did you
And we're getting it.
Sans?
Yeah. French for without.
Wow. That's some movement there.
Bilingual guy.
Ooh, doggies.
I'm telling you though, man. Watch
You got
Canelo
the
Crawford.
sophistication.
If you watch one boxing fight again in your life, Lowetide, make it Canelo Crawford this weekend.
I might.
Can I come over and watch it?
No. Gilly says Howard was Edmonton's rookie representative at NHL Rookie Showcase. That's why he wasn't there. All right. We love today. It was great. Sam got in action. We're all rocking and rolling. Gregor next. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Play Alberta has an all-new app. Download it, get boosted odds on all the big games. Plus, play casino games, grab lottery tickets, and try some quick and easy instant games. That's all on your phone. PlayAlberta.ca. Monday Night Football tonight. The Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings finishing off week 1 of the regular season. MLB action will get going at 4:40, Royals and Guardians, and Nats and Marlins. We'll also see the Reds and Padres at 7:40 in the late game tonight. In the MLB will be the Rockies in LA to take on the Dodgers. News around the sporting world is Russell Wilson will in fact remain the starting quarterback, of the New York Giants for Sunday's game against the Cowboys. And Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian did dismiss a question about Arch Manning's health after social media videos of the Longhorns quarterback set off some speculation. A reporter reportedly said to him that Manning appeared to have throwing pains before Sarkisian cut him off. Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime climbing to number 13 in the world rankings today after his run to the men's singles semifinals at the U.S. Open. Auger-Aliassime reached a career high number 6 in 2022, and he jumped 14 spots this time to remain the highest-ranked Canadian male. Up next is the Jason Gregor Show with Connor Halley. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and